Welcome everyone to the recording studio at DevFest Nantes. I'm Vadim. I'm a front-end developer from Berlin, and you are?
I'm Jecelyn. I'm the DevTools engineer from the Chrome DevTools team.
Okay, we've been recording some videos here at DevFest, and finally I have to be in the frame of my in the video myself, and we have a very special guest today. I'm a front-end engineer myself. I've been recording some people talking about cloud, AI, Android, or some other tools, and finally we get to talk about the front end.
Yes.
And so you're DevRel in the Chrome DevTools team.
Yep.
Meaning, what do you do? Like you talk with developers about DevTools. You're writing some code in DevTools as well.
So I do both. So
Okay.
I try to so the first part is the educations. So every month or so, I will create some videos or some DevTools tips video on some telling you what are the new stuff in Chrome DevTools. So make sure you don't just close the button when the What's New tab pop up. If you click on that, then you can view some videos and some articles. And the other part is that I will bring your product feedback because we'll read the bug reports and I go to conference and I talk to people. I bring the product feedback to the team so that to help the team prioritize what to build next. And then the third one is that I will also write some code. Like one of the recent code that I wrote is that the mock API features. Yeah. So
that's cool.
I do that as well.
Okay, I heard some feedback from developers that it's quite useful. So thank you for that. I must confess, I turned off what's new in DevTools thing, and when I open DevTools, I just want to jump straight to the code. I don't want anything to interrupt me. But yeah, definitely, if it's an option for other people to learn what's new, and otherwise they won't understand and won't discover those features because it's a huge tool.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned before we started this recording, I realized that, I mean, you said it's 15 years. I would say 10 years, but anyway, Chrome DevTools, like Chrome DevTools, not just DevTools in Chrome, they are 10 years old now because in my timeline, you forked them from WebKit DevTools, and since then you're just recreated the whole thing from scratch. I think I get that. I wonder if there are any compatible parts left in the WebKit and the Chrome DevTools. I mean, is it possible to create a feature that would work in both of them, or are they completely different? Do you know?
I think now, so I do not know much about the history because I just joined like three years ago. But what I would assume is that the code base now is like totally different. So once you land, maybe you want to add a checkbox or add some features, you will need to re-implement that in the WebKits.
Right.
And since then, there is a lot of changes in DevTools. So we moved from, previously we used our own module system. So to manage the different package because DevTools is big. And we also moved to ES modules. We also write a blog post to talk about how long and how hard for us to do it. It takes about 1 year or two in order to do the total migration.
I remember something like this. Yeah.
Yeah, and we also moved to TypeScript. Yeah, I'm not so sure whether WebKits is on TypeScript or still on JavaScript. Yeah.
Those DevTools, like in WebKit and Chrome, they definitely look different now. They used to be very similar. I mean, it used to be the same tool, basically.
Yeah.
And I guess there's no going back.
Yeah.
Okay. And my personal favorite part of DevTools, accessibility tools, I always thought that they're kind of hidden away a bit, and I was planning to complain about it in front of you, but then I realized there's a new checkbox, like an experiment to show this overlay button on top right corner of DOM inspector.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you implement it like recently or?
We implemented it last year.
Last year. Oh,
Yeah, last year at least.
I should probably enable what's new in Chrome DevTools back.
The other way, you can also subscribe to the developer.chrome.com, the RSS.
Yeah.
Then you get news articles as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's been there for a year. It's still not enabled by default. Why?
Yeah, we still want to do some clean up like the experience, we are not so sure whether a flirting button like that is a good thing or not. So the other way is that we are thinking that probably, in Firefox, they have this in the Elements panel, they have this top toolbar where you can have a search box and have a little button there that you can do. So we are thinking that probably to have a search box there and then have a little button. One of it is the accessibility tooling, just to bring up that, and also like to make the search. I mean, a lot of people also doesn't know about the Control F search, so we want to make this. And just the UI, the patterns, we haven't sure yet whether we want to go with that or the other way around. That's why we haven't enabled it by default. But I agree with you, the accessibility tooling is very hidden.
Yeah, it's in its styles in a drop down menu usually on a typical screen.
Yes, because it's like in your styles pane, you usually just put it like this. So if you drag it like longer, you will see all the different tabs that you have computed and accessibility. But usually you just have it like in a small width. That's why you need to press more and then go down. That's what a lot of people doesn't know. About it.
I always when I show something how to inspect accessibility, I always say like, open this thing and keep it like, try to rearrange, try to drag it like closer to you, so you won't forget that it's there. I mean, you mentioned that you could probably move it to some like to be visible by default in the top panel, but there are so many tools already there. I mean, there's not enough space.
So we the another thought is to make it customizable. If we have it, to make it customizable, so you can choose what are the button that you want to show it up. So definitely, because different people have different debugging needs, and then some say that, you should put it here in the primary UI. Some say no. So it's just hard.
I mean, if I'm there to debug JavaScript, just runtime JavaScript, no UI, not anything. This thing would get in the way for me. So I don't know. You should probably introduce some kind of profiles. Like I'm debugging JavaScript right now, but in an hour I'm going to be debugging UI with different kind of tools that I might need. So you're trying to solve all the problems in the world.
We are also one of the ideas that bring up like during the discussion is also something like a profile. So if you choose a certain profile, and then we will show you like these 4 tabs. And you can still open other panel, but if you just show this by default, we just show you for the 4 tabs or some changes that you need. For that, we also like still discussing like how would the experience be and how will we choose that. So
there's another idea. You're probably aware that I mean, not many developers understand how DevTools work in different browsers, because they have their favorite browser and they have some others. Like if my browser of choice is Firefox, I know Firefox DevTools better than I do with in Chrome case. And in Firefox, for example, they decided to, for example, this responsive design mode. It's a completely different UI from DevTools. You open DevTools, you have a different typical panel at the bottom. When you open the responsive design mode, you can open it without opening DevTools. It will just modify the existing page, and you will have like mobile viewport, some settings like in this device mode in Chrome. So you there's even separate shortcut. So the idea is to split the main panel, the main DevTools window into multiple parts. For example, this responsive design mode, or like device toolbar, how do you call it? It could be a totally separate tool that you can open with the inspector, DOM, and everything, and console, or without. That would be one way of like decluttering everything. Have you considered something like this?
No, we did not. In fact, I do not know that.
It's like Command Option I open DevTools, and Command Option M opens responsive design mode, and it's a totally different view. And you can take screenshots, resize, and pick like a phone model, and check it. So
I will need to check this out.
I mean, to take inspiration from other dev tools, that's a normal thing to do. For I mean, I've seen Firefox dev tools taking inspiration from Chrome dev tools, and Safari doing something like this. So
we did as well. Like just now I mentioned that all in the Firefox DevTools they have these
Yeah,
toolbar.
yeah.
So like we see like each other like do what are the great things that we can include, and then
I recently realized also that you started to declutter or like redefine the console and moving some of the messages to issues panel.
yeah.
And how's it going? Is it finalized, or you're still
It is always ongoing because
Right.
one of the reason that we have the issues panel is that issues tab is that there's a lot of like the browsers warning and all the other warnings
Yeah.
that probably like cookies warning, probably you might not care about it as a developers, but
or like extensions?
yeah. So it's like it's just a really long list. That's why we moved that to issues. So it's always ongoing. Why I say that is because there will be always new errors that different Chrome team trying to add. So the panel now is finalized. So it's there. So the rules is that wherever you want to add the errors, first try to consider adding it to the issues panel, unless you really think that the error should be in the console.
Right.
Yeah.
Because when there are like hundreds of messages, you're gonna miss something.
Yeah.
But when you're filtering, you're kind of focusing, but then you forget that there's a filter enabled and you're missing those. So I try not to filter messages because at some point I'll start missing those.
Yeah. And you
So-
forget what you set the filter, right?
Yeah. All right. And what else? What else? And recently there's been like CSS for like a couple of last years been growing like crazy with all those new
yes.
features, nesting, scoping, cascade layers. And it's not just implementing those things in browser, but also implementing in DevTools.
Yeah.
How's it going for you?
Yeah, it's also our team. So we have a dedicated team to talk about to build this stuff. So this thing is called like baseline.
Right.
So in the baseline features is that all the browsers sort of like say, hey, yes, we agree that these are the features that need to land in every browsers.
It's
so
like
especially
web
the
compat initiative and by baseline as well.
Yeah. So then like CSS there's a lot of CSS features. So but for developers to use that, we need to at least have a basic support in DevTools.
That's true.
The basic support means that if there's a new property like cascade layer, at least when you write that, DevTools doesn't crash.
Well, that's a good start.
Sure. So there's a good start to make it like doesn't crash. And just doing that, so means if we don't want it to crash, means that we need to parse it properly. So that's
and highlight.
Yeah. So that's the first step. So we always make sure that this will happen, doesn't crash. And then the second one is what are the toolings that can help you to debug certain things better. So now most of the features we are adding it like the layer. You can see it in the styles pane. We have an add layer, like a second part, just like the media.
So the separate section.
Yeah. Then you can do that. And also now, I think this new release, we have a custom properties as well. We have another way for you to view it as well in the same styles pane. And for container queries, because the debugging is a bit more involved, and it's similar to like Flexbox and Grid. So what you can do is that you can use the badge in the HTML element to click on that and then start debugging it.
I like badging because it helps you to jump right into a special mode. Like you're debugging Flex, Grid, or even it's like in Firefox, I believe there's an overflow badge as well. Not sure. Have you implemented it yet?
No, the
Not yet?
overflow badge not yet. Yeah.
But it's so useful.
Yeah. So I think the display, the Grid and the Flexbox badge, we are inspired by Firefox.
Yeah, because it's so easy to jump right there and start debugging Grid and Flexbox.
But we also be very careful and to not adding too many badges, because if the badges everywhere, you will like, where should I click? So we are also very careful in like not overloading the badges. And actually you can right click on the badge and then click on badge setting, so you can disable some of the badge to not see them at all.
How do you find? I mean, we already talked about this. I mean, it's hard. You're thinking about profiles, but how do you start? Like, how do you start finding a new place for new feature in DevTools? Like, we need to add something, like a button or drop down or like some sort of a, like debugging tool. where do you put it? How do you start this process? Like put it somewhere in the center and then figure out later, or how?
Okay, so this is a really good
It sounds
question.
impossible.
Yeah, yeah. So it's okay. So some of the decision is a bit more obvious. So so what it will do is that usually like the dev rel or the UX and UX designer or when software engineer, when we see the bug reports, so someone will start a design document and put in some rough ideas, and almost every time, like one rough idea is like, how about this, and then we use a document as a single source of truth for the discussion of what are the alternatives that we discuss. And then the final one is that the UX designer, our UX designer is also hard, like you need to design like so many panel, and then he will give his recommendation and DevRel will give the recommendations,
Right.
and then we discuss and then we agree on, okay, this should be the way we should add, and then yeah, that's how we do it. And
Right.
just to add a single checkbox, sometimes it is take much more time than the implementation itself.
All right. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, like recently I tried to there's a things that we haven't do it yet, like the emulate a focus page. So in
Alright.
my talk I talk about that. So it's hidden in the rendering tab. So we want to help developers to debug the disappearing element. It's like the YouTube search drop down better. So we feel like this should taken out and then put that in the styles pane under the Howard thing. We have, I think, 3, 4, 5 round of discussion now, and we still do not know, not sure what is the best way to do it. Yeah. So now I'm doing user research in the booth. Yeah. To
So
find out
basically,
more.
you
Yeah.
show it to developers and then see what they
Yeah.
think about it. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you do any A/B testing or this kind of automated testing to understand what kind of UI would be better?
Now we don't do A/B testing. So what we are doing is that because we don't have the A/B testing infrastructures,
Right.
once the DevTools code ship in your Chromium, you install it and that's it. We don't have like a API to turn off like A/B
Yeah.
testing. But what we do is that we will guard the new enhancement under the experimental flag. So you can go to DevTools to turn on the experiment. And we will also have like RFC, like request for comments. So we write out a docs to ask people for the feedback. And we also have some user research group where we publish some survey and then ask people to fill in to answer, to tell us what do they feel. And once we are confident with that, then we turn on the experimental flag and launch it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But do you have some sort of statistics to analyze what kind of where do we click and what features are used or what are not?
We have some like, but we don't have like for everything. But for example, which are the tab that is most popular that people click, we know. And for some others feature is depending on whether we want to learn about that specific one, the specific click or not. But we don't track all the clicks, just like a few things that we want to learn about the usage pattern. Then we can collect the usage. Yeah.
I also realized I could jump into a completely different topic. Why not? I realized that I've been working with Chrome DevTools for more than a decade, and even more than that, considering that it was Firefox and Safari before that. But still, there's a tool called PageSpeed inside
Yeah.
outside of Chrome,
Yes.
and there's Lighthouse Audit,
Yeah.
and I don't fully understand the difference between them and use cases. When would you use one or another? Because they at the end they give a similar results, like 100, 100, 100, 100 if you're good, or something worse than that.
Yeah.
And what's the use case and what's the difference between those?
Okay, so the page speed, the page speed is a web page, right, that you can go.
Yeah.
So anyone can paste in any URL and then run it there.
Try it.
So I think it's quite similar to the first case just now when you mentioned Firefox, they have a different mode. So when people running this performance report, it's not necessary they are developers.
True.
And they might not know there's a right-click inspect that can open the Chrome DevTools.
They could
in
be
order-
like business owners.
Yes, they just want to like run a report.
They just want
that.
nice numbers.
Yes. Yeah, true. But we don't always give them nice number if they don't do
I mean,
nice stuff.
we try.
Yeah. So for them, like this is the easiest way to do that. And then so the next is come to like the lighthouse. So in the lighthouse do more than just giving you the score. It's also like
Right.
explain like what should you do as a developers. Yeah. And like give you like SEO and accessibility tips as well and what you need to do. So yeah. So that is for developers. So you can imagine it's the backend is similar, and then but the access, like how easy access for you, like we are putting it in the workflow that you are currently doing. So if you are in DevTools, you have a place to run it as well.
Is it running locally only, like when it's Lighthouse in Chrome DevTools?
Yeah.
So it means that you can run it against your local environment.
Yeah.
Compared to
Yeah, that too. Yeah. So in the web the page speed inside, it is running in a remote machine, but that is running in your machine.
You can probably use some tunneling from your machine to probably put some URL into the page speed inside, but it's much easier to use locally running Lighthouse, I guess.
Yeah, but that need to be careful as well, because sometimes when we are doing local development and then we run the test, right? That would be fast because it's a synthetic.
Yeah.
We call it lab environment because you just run. So what it does is that we will try to slow it down, slow down your CPU and the speed when we run it. But nowadays Apple M1 is so fast. Even when we slow down, it is still fast. So sometimes you see that the score is so good here, but then if you go to the live environment or you run PHP stat,
you're running it's like at Moto M4 or G4, whatever.
Yeah, and we also pull out some if the web page have a certain real time like the data, we will also pull them to show you.
Yeah.
So the page speed inside will show you that, but in the Chrome DevTools Lighthouse, we don't. We only like run in the synthetic the lab mode.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay, so there are like interfaces similar, but use cases are quite different. So thank you for clearing this out, because now I'm gonna start using those properly.
Okay.
And to finalize everything, and I can give my advice to everyone trying to understand DevTools better. Learn this quick menu like Command Shift P on Mac, or Control Shift P on Windows, I guess, because every command will be on your fingertips. Like you can find anything you want, like switch dark light modes and disable JavaScript if you need it for some reason. And what would be your advice to everyone learning DevTools, trying to explore the features?
So if you are trying to explore the features, the one that you recommend is definitely the best one, because Command Shift P can give you anything that you want in your fingertips. You don't need to like go to the panel and then put 4 clicks in order to reach on certain features. And another place I think is good is that if you go to goo.gle/devtools, so we have a page that lists out is the Chrome DevTools documentations. So if you go there, or if you just click on any link in Chrome DevTools, you'll find like learn more. You just click on that, it will bring you to our website as well. So we have documents, videos to talk about what are the new stuff or what are the existing stuff that you do not know, just to explain you the workflow and how you can use it. And then you can start experimenting with that. Yeah.
There's also in sidebar, there are categories. For example, you can click, for example, accessibility and learn everything about debugging accessibility in Chrome DevTools. So it's also very useful.
Yeah.
Nice. Thank you for stopping by in this our little studio. And I missed your talk yesterday, but there's going to be recordings, so I'm going to check it out.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me here. Yeah.
Okay. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.